I was really captivated by the feeling that you could get from a film. I don't think I appreciated it up until that very moment. I was 18 years old, and that's only 2 years ago, but in that one moment when I was watching the film, I was like, you can convey so much with image and sound and all of the makeup of just cinema, and I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to study that and get really good at that. The pacing, it's the things that you choose to highlight, the actual selection of clips that you use, the way that you grade it, the effects, all of that stuff. Everything that you put together, it shows you. I feel like when you put it out on the table, you should be proud of that. Like, you have to know that you put yourself into it. And yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I love editing so much, because
Me too.
you just like, at the end of the day, you can film everything, the person can direct everything, but when they give it to you and you sit in that edit suite and you put all the clips together, it's now your job to tell the story and stylize it, and like, it's so cool. I don't know, I get so happy every time I talk about it, because I find it so much fun to just sit there and like watch these stories come to life, because I feel like a lot of people forget that editing is a major part of this. Like, the average viewer doesn't realize that like films aren't just shot like that. They are shot maybe completely out of order, and somebody has to put this together. So, yeah. Okay, one person that I've met in my time here is a writer, and he's written for like Doctor Who or something like that. And one of the first things that he told me was, if you're going to write, because I was also interested in writing at the time, if he was like, if you're going to write, then write about what you know. And it seems very basic, like it doesn't seem like much advice at all, just write about what you know. But when I really sat down and thought about it, a lot of the times people want to write these crazy stories, fantasy, sci-fi, all that stuff, but they don't incorporate any of themselves into it. Well, the thing that I learned is that you have to incorporate yourself into your work. Anything that you do has to have a part of you into it. And there has to be a level of honesty about yourself within your work. And I feel like if you don't put yourself into your work, then it's something that's similar to something that anybody can do. Each year at Westminster approaches it in a different way. The first year, I feel like, in retrospect, I can see was a lot more about creativity. The marks don't matter as much, so a lot of the stuff that you're doing is ideas that you come up with your group, and you make these into these short exercises or the short films that you need to do for whatever brief they've given you. Some of it is drama, some of it is just like little short blips, and others are like documentary, short doc, major docs, and stuff like that. It's cool, but I think in the second year you become a little bit more professional with it. So you talk about professional practice, and you talk about approaching drama and really understanding it. So you really focus on storytelling in your second year. And I feel like that's one thing that the tutors don't want you to stray from. They want you to be able to tell your story without having a huge budget, or without having to worry about what like crazy cool camera you're shooting on, or what access you have to all the most expensive things. They're trying to tell you, be as creative as possible within the bounds that you have set for you. Because at the end of the day, you are a student filmmaker. Like, you aren't a professional yet, so you don't need to have access to all of these things to make something good. And I think one of the most important things that one of my tutors said to me, Simon, he said that some of the best films have been made in some of the lowest budgets. And it's sobering to hear that, really, because you'd think like you need all this money to do all of this, but at the end of the day, you really don't. If you can tell a good story, and you can convey that to an audience without having to spend excessive amounts of money, then you've done what you set out to do as a filmmaker. You're trying to tell your story. Within the third year now, you get even more professional, because now you're getting ready to go out into the world. And so in the third year, you're working on your CV, you do a major commercial, you do your final film, which you send out to all of like these major film festivals and stuff. And yeah, in your third year, I feel like you're really solidifying yourself. As much as I am confident in what I'm doing, I still think I am finding my voice, or I'm still finding my style. The most daunting thing is that I have to constantly prove myself all the time. I always have to show that I'm good enough, but I feel like that's just something that I have to get used to, because for the rest of my life, especially working in this industry, you have to prove to people that you have, I don't know, like you have the chops for it, you know?